Hi, this is the next Christmas journal that I made. It's actually one that I made for a friend to surprise her for an early birthday present. So anyhow, so this is a smaller one. This is what I think is typically called a traveler's notebook. As you can see, it's narrow up here and it's longer. So let me see, give you an idea of the dimensions. It's, well, I've got the palm trim. You can see the palm trim here. So that makes it about 4¼ inches wide. And then of course, if you open it full, that's going to be double. So that would be 9 inches. And then the height on it is coming in at, let's see, just 8¼ inches. So that's usually what they call a traveler's notebook size. Again, I did what I usually do. I stuff it to the max. I just like having them full of stuff. So, and I don't think she's going to be writing in it. And if she does, she can find spaces for it. So anyhow, as usual, I still haven't gotten the hang yet of making a really nice outer cover. So I found this probably about a year and a half ago. I was just on Etsy just looking for at junk journals and came across this gal in India that was starting to make them. And this was one of her first ones, and she did a very nice job on it. I'm not quite sure what the cover's made out of. It's kind of got a leather feel, but it looks like there might be maybe a small thin envelope that's in it. And both, yeah, because this is just red cardstock. So the outside here is just a red feeling to give it kind of a faux leather look. And you can see that there's a strip of thin burlap, trying to keep it in screen. Then a piece of, it looks like material, but it's actually a printed piece of cardstock. And then this is a piece of lace. And then there's some gold trim around here. And then, of course, a picture of Santa Claus. And then I really like the little, it's probably another Tim Holtz little thingy here. It says faith on it. And then I added this 25 November or December 25. And then the back is just plain. Unfortunately, I got a tiny little pen mark on it. Hopefully she won't notice it and she'll just think it's just part of the look. I know one of the things that some ladies do is they have a stamp that they put on it. It's it's either a pre-wet stamp or a stamp that they just ink up, and it says handmade, so slight blemishes are to be expected. So I need to get a stamp like that. So that's the slight blemish that's coming on this one. So anyhow, so let's look at the front, or actually I'll just hold it. And this is what they call I don't know where the term came from, maybe because it just looks like an alligator's mouth, but that's actually the term for it. Is an alligator's mouth, and it's probably, no, if I just let it really relax and open up, we're looking at just shy of 8 inches. So it does have a red ribbon that goes around it to keep it tied, but I want to keep it nice looking. I just ironed it, and so I thought I could just show you the journal without having that red ribbon on it. So let's go through it. Like the last one I did, I had some Stamperia paper that I used. So this is some of Stamperia's paper. Just a little pocket here, a tag. These are just some distressed looking, old-fashioned looking pieces of paper stamped on, glued on, an old time vintage looking present tag. Yeah, you can see who it's to Jackie from Fiona. It says October 2021, even though she's going to get it here in January or February, because I can't hold on to stuff when I make it. I'm too much like a little kid that way. So anyhow, so now everybody knows who it's going to. So this is the first page, and again, this was part that I cut out from the Stamperia paper set and just used some, I think the distress ink I used was Vintage Photo or Potted Soil, one of the two, probably Vintage Photo. And then again, the red and white palm trim. This is the mini size, and as you can see, it makes a nice trim, finishes off the page nicely, especially if you haven't cut your page very straight, which I have a hard time making a straight line. There's just no getting around it. So sometimes putting trim on the edge can kind of hide if you kind of cut your paper a little bit askew. A little pocket. Again, there's a little bit of glimmer in this gold medallion look fabric. And then I topped it off with a slim piece of material that was, and you can see it over here too. Over here I made a belly band with the same material. And it's holly red berries, and it's got a little bit, let's see if we can get it going here, a little bit of a glimmer through the branches. And then this, again, this is Stamperia paper from the Make-A-Wish collection, I believe is the name. This is a tag, just a tag that I made from a couple of images that were in the collection. And this was a little vintage card that I have, and I just had some red ribbon that had some glitter on it, so I just trimmed it on the back. And again, that's part of the Stamperia collection on the back, because they usually do a lot of images, and then there'll be a few pages that are just like background that they all match in beautifully. Stamperia does a really nice job of making the papers and having them all match. So this next page, just put a little, or if you can see it, just a little piece of ribbon that says the word Christmas on it. And again, this is called a belly band. It goes east and west. I'm not sure what they're called. I know people do them north to south or top to bottom. I'm not sure what those are called. And just an old-fashioned tractor pulling a Christmas tree. And again, this is on the back, that's the Stamperia, just one of their background pages that came with the Make-A-Wish set. And then this was on a piece of page or a piece of their paper somewhere. Again, and this, as you can see, they do different designs. They try to really come up with unique ways of keeping the color scheme the same, but it's not all the same kind of images. So that's what's kind of interesting about Stamperia. That's one of the things I think why they're a big draw with people. So the next page, again, Stamperia in the background, a little bit of lace cut out to look like a star shape. This was one of the images on the Stamperia Make-A-Wish, the angel piece of trim that I have that had season's greetings. Then I put a piece of material down here. I stopped the palm trim here just so I could get the material. And you may not be able to see it because it kind of got lost when I put the red material over it. But there is some white shiny material underneath it. And then I put the red material and then just a little piece of gold bling here. Then this is just a transparent, you can hear it, it's kind of got a waxy feel. In fact, I think some people actually use wax paper, and it's just to kind of give it a nice effect. One of the things about junk journals is just having different papers, different types of pages in it. I don't really go for or like putting in like bank receipts or paperwork you would find at a CPA office, or time cards, or, people can put just about any kind of paper in there. I tend to like to keep it with whatever the card stock is that I'm using. But I do like the effect of this because it kind of gives you an interesting look. You're looking and you're seeing, okay, it's kind of interesting. What am I going to find, when I flip this open? And that's one of the enjoyments of having junk journals, is just, flipping the pages and just, wondering what you're going to find when you flip the next page. And I do see that I neglected to do something at the beginning. So I just want to jump back real quick. What I did is I hanged some little thingies here just to make it more Christmassy. These are, I call them bulb pins. They come in different colors, like this one's a brass color, this one's a black, this one's a silver, and they just let you hang on little things. So this was actually a really long earring that had a lot of jingle bells on it, so I just took them apart and put them on the bulb pin. And then this is a charm. I got a bunch of Christmas charms. So this is just a package. Then here's some more bells. And it just adds something nice to it for you to play with. Because again, a lot of thing with journals is just kind of like the tactile, just feeling with things, playing with things, moving them around. That's kind of part of the charm of them. Here's the little reindeer. More jingle bells here. And then at the very front, this one, I don't know if you could see it or not, I'll hold it out better. It's the word Noel. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. So here's that waxy paper. This was a piece of chipboard shaped to look like a really large, interesting snowflake. So that got embossed with, I believe I used Ranger's gold embossing on that. And then I actually have an embossing gun. I know some ladies use just a regular craft dryer, but for me it doesn't get hot quick enough, and I end up having to hold the craft dryer over this, and it takes so long that it can actually start bubbling the embossing powder rather than setting it, which just it doesn't look good. So I went out and got the embossing gun. It's not a gun, it's an embossing dryer, but they call it an embossing gun. And then interesting old-time vintage looking European Santa. I really like the old European Santa looking. And then another one here. And then this is actually a piece of crocheted trim down the side. And one of the reasons I use trim is wherever I want to hang one of these little bulb pins from, I put a piece of lace of some kind, because as you can see, there's no way you're going to get it through there, or it could be difficult trying to get through that palm trim. So when you have a piece of lace like this, you can pretty much decide where you want it to hang, at what level you want it to hang. So that's one of the nice things about putting lace on too. This is a piece of the Stamperia, and this is a smaller Stamperia image, little old-time U.S. Christmas stamp, little vintage that looks like it's sewed on the outside to give it kind of a homemade feel, but it's really just part of the image. And then you just glue it down here, glue it here. I use either Fabri-Tac, which I know is mainly for fabrics, but I like it for the using for paper too. Or with something like this, I would maybe even use a real thin line of Mod Podge, or not Mod Podge, the E6000, because that stuff really sticks. So, and then just behind it, another vintage looking tag. So then we go to the next page, and I check I'm staying in screen. And this is my snowman page. This is a glittery piece of material that I don't know how they get the glitter on the material, but it actually stays in the material really well, and it doesn't rub off. You can see that it's not coming off. And so then here's another cutout from that same material, and I just cut it like that to make and then to make the shape, and then it was either E6000 or yeah, I think with pockets I go with the E6000 just because I know it's never going to go anywhere. And then another tag that I made, another chipboard piece, and they got glitter on it. These are two pieces of vintage material, and again, this is a crochet looking piece of material, and then the little jingle bells here. So this is just regular red cardstock, and then just a nice kind of sage green cardstock. I'm not sure if the colors are showing up as true or not, but that's what it is. Then underneath, or actually in the middle of all of these pages in between the cardstocks, is just coffee dyed or tea stained, just regular journal paper. So you can see it here. I let it peek through here because I wanted it to show through. And then again, this is a piece of the Stamperia paper. This I think is one out of probably one of those Tim Holtz sets. And then there's just some sparkly eyelash trim put around it. And another piece of Stamperia paper here that I made a pocket. I have this really glittery, nice looking trim, so I just kind of finished off the pocket here. And I happen to have this thin trim material that tied in really nice with the pine cones. So that was a nice find. And up here, just a holly. And then again, this is the pocket inside, and a vintage looking or old European looking Santa in his sleigh, and then a vintage looking card with three children. Looks like they're trudging through the snow. And again, on the back, to give it some sturdiness so they're not floppy, just to give them some weight and sturdiness, I glued a piece of cardstock on the back, and that just helps them to feel better. Now this was a piece of Stamperia paper out of the kit, and I just cut it in a long rectangle shape because I wanted to have a deep pocket because I had a couple of bookmarks that I wanted to give my friend. So it's just glued along three sides, and you just wait till it dries. You might want to wait a little bit longer to make sure that it dries. Little green piece of lace, little red gem, and then inside this, I don't know if it's picking it up or not, there's some glitter on this reindeer with the sweater on. Some bright red sparkly trim since it's Christmas. Christmas is all about bling and festive, and then this was a bookmark that I made out of that Stamperia set. Had the cardinal on the holly with the blueberries, and then this was another piece of the Stamperia, the poinsettias, and then just a piece of material to finish it off. And so those just slide down in there. And again, if you can see from the top, you've got some things poking up, because that's one of the things about junk journals is the ladies like to have things, poking up, and it kind of gets you curious as to what it is and go looking for it. So this is another belly band. Below it is another sheet of the Stamperia. And then let's go this way. That ribbon doesn't want to go. Hold on a minute. That image is, let me put this down and get it out. Okay, so yeah, with these belly bands, I glue it pretty tight because I glue it here in both places, and then I hold it like this for a little bit because I want to make sure that it's going to hold. But with making it that tight, it can be a little challenging if you've got something on your tag that can get caught. Like there's the piece of material here that's got the gold trim on it, And then down here, it's not flat, and so what can happen is it can get caught on the belly. So you can see how it's not going in very smoothly. So this one, he's flat. There's nothing on him, so he can even go slide up from the bottom. Just if you want to have this one out front, since it's got the green trim on it. This is an old-time looking tag. As you can see, it's just got some of the words Toy Emporium. This is a little piece of chipboard. I'm still in screen. Then this is just a red button I added on. Then over here, this is just a giant paper clip. Let me show you. And you can just use it to add things on. Another thing you can use is altered paper clips. But this is just a large. I just like them. I think they're really cool being that big. And I think there's ones that are even bigger than this. I think they're called jumbo. These are called large, and I think there's ones that are even jumbo. So, and then there's a piece of material here, so you can just kind of tuck something under here if you want to. And then a piece of material down here, and it gives you a little tuck space. So another vintage looking, I actually did it on both sides here. The old vintage looking Santas, and then here's a Santa. This was actually on the back of it. It looks like, yeah, it is. It's a cut up time card with a little bit of material on it. I've been collecting Christmas stuff for a long time, so I don't really remember where I got this from. So if anybody's watching and I got it from you, and I'm not saying that, please forgive me. I'm sure you ladies know what it's like when you're collecting supplies to make something. When it gets to the time, you oftentimes don't remember where you got everything. Okay, so this was just a tag I made out of the Stamperia set. And then here's another piece of Stamperia paper. And I think I forgot to show in the last couple of pages that I have a glitter pen, and I actually add some glitter on here, so I don't know if you can see it or not when I move it. And then a piece of material down here, a piece of trim, had the words Merry Christmas. Okay, and then over on this page, this is actually stretchy red, really beautiful red stretchy material. So again, it got securely glued on all three sides, and then it gives you this little pocket. Came across this little piece of plastic holly. So he's glued in there. He's not going anywhere because I didn't want him to move and potentially rip this material, because this will be going through the Postal Service to get to her. I want to make sure it gets to her in good shape. Another tag. I can't remember what paper set this was from. I'm not sure if it was Stamperia or not, because I believe this last Christmas, or maybe this is even this Stamperia's Christmas collection from 2019. That's possible. Because I know sometimes they come out with different collections at the same time of the year. It's not just one collection, but they'll come out with several of them, because I believe they also do that whenever they have a release of something. There's usually at least 2 or 3 sets for that time of year. So just this was off a digital download that I got, and I'm sorry, I don't remember what shop I got it from, but it's one of the digital downloads. There's a lot of ladies that are doing that now. They're actually not doing the junk journals. They're more into doing the graphics and doing digital download kits. So that's where I got that. This was off a digital download kit. I know I'm very bad. I'm breaking all the rules by not telling you where I got it from, because that's one of the things that one of the disclaimers when you buy their digital kits, or if you use them, that you give them a shout out, or direct whoever's watching to their shop so they can go buy it. But I'm sorry, I don't remember where I got it. So forgive me, and hopefully you don't send the copyright police after me. So This was another digital printout from the workshop of Santa Claus. And again, you can just see that I just made it a pocket. I put in 2 Christmas tags with some shiny tinsel on the top. Now we're at the center. This is the signature. It did come with the signature. So the lady in India that made it, she sent it like this with the signature already made, which was nice. And she had long pieces of string she left for me. So what I did is I just added, we'll go back to this in a minute, I just added a couple of charms just to finish it off. So this was a Stamperia page. Then I just cut the image out and then put on a background, added I don't know if you could see this. This is just a little puff out, supposed to look like a present, a gift, a little red ribbon up there. And then this was a piece of or not material, but a piece of the cardstock off of this Make-A-Wish collection. And then, as I said, she had sent it like this with this lace, which I think is really nice. And then I just put some different tags in it. Like there's this vintage looking one of children looking at a old-fashioned Christmas tree. And then there's a little tag with poinsettia, vintage Santa. So with these pockets, and this one I just add a little bit of ribbon on the top. So that's the signature. So this was a page from the Stamperia collection, and I really liked it. And fortunately, I had, again, I can't remember where, but I had gotten, I'm going to quit saying that. If I know where it is, I'll just say where I got it. So these are some actually glitter shaped snowflakes. So I thought that looked kind of nice. And just the red trim here with just a little gem to kind of finish it off. Then this is a large tag, as you can see. Deck the halls. It talks about tinsel, which is one of the things that we here in America, sometimes we put that on our Christmas trees, and then we end up wishing we hadn't, because it can get to be a mess to take off. And then this is just, the lady that made this in India, she actually had this little half envelope glued on here. And so, fortunately, I came across an old advertisement that this is a tree. And this was an old advertisement for Christmas tinsel for your tree tinsel. So that was a happy accident. It goes along nice with this. And again, back to a little piece of lace trim here, so I could hang my little, I don't know if you can hear it or not. But those are fun to play with at Christmas time. And then the next page, wanted to put one of my, even though this is more of a Santa, I still wanted to have some Christmas music, and this is one of my favorites, Joy to the World. Then there's just a little piece of material trim with some gems on it. And then this is a piece of vintage material that I bought off a lady in Etsy. And as you can see, I just finished it off by putting different red material around it. And this one has a little bit of, you might notice this from one of the ATCs I did earlier. This is where I got the glittery red ribbon for it. This is one of my more fun pages that I had. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pull it off. This is a cutout from the Stamperia collection, and you may notice that or remember seeing this from me lining it along the top of a pocket earlier. So I just really gently put down a real thin line of Fabri-Tac glue, and then put this trim down and just stood there and hold it. And then so I did that for all three. And then I put just a blue gem. So I thought it made it, it's kind of a fun, festive look. Little piece of Christmas trim. And then over here, an old vintage looking Santa with one of those puffy 3D presents. I had some trim. This got gifts on it. And then up at the top, Merry Christmas with a, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little tree here and then a little package gift over here. Now this was from a digital kit, and I wanted to just leave it as it was. I just put some lace down the middle just to kind of finish it off, and then there's some shiny lace down here, and then this is a tag with a cardinal on it on a package, or some pearls, and some nice little bits of lace down here, and then the nice white ribbon up top. I'm going to put that over here. So this is that page. Then this was another embossed piece. I've got this. This was from another digital download. It says Jingle Bells, and I happen to have this in my stash. It was a chipboard set of bells, as you can see. So I embossed it with a real shiny red. I don't know if you can see it. I want to move it so you can see it. And then I just finished it off with a piece of that shiny trim up there. So that was a real nice find. I actually had forgotten I had these, so when I saw these, oh, that's really nice. And then the trim down the side. Now, when I got the journal from the lady in Indy, when I bought it from her, she had already put this pocket on. And I can see where something is starting to happen here. I'm going to have to put something here where I'm mailing it. What this is causing, the effect that this is happening here, and the reason this is happening, is this was a piece of chipboard that got embossed. And I think it feels like it's shiny, but I'm not sure if maybe it was old embossing powder, or maybe the glue that I put on the chipboard itself, maybe it's old and it was starting to break down. I'm not sure, because I really don't emboss that much. Usually it's just around the holidays, so it's starting to wear off a little bit. So I'm going to have to put something there to protect it through mailing, because I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit that's coming off here. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. You know, if you do something like this, and especially if you don't know how old your supplies are, sometimes things can start to break down. It's kind of like, for instance, like ladies' eyeshadow. If it's old, it can start to get crumbly, and you know, you put